Hello, and thanks for joining me on this episode of Simply Saturday. Today, I'll be showing you a fun card that is perfect for this cold time of year. This is January of 2026. My name is Julie, and this is Stamp with Julie Baum. In this Simply Saturday episode, we're going to be making a cute card that features hot cocoa. And it has been an incredibly cold January across much of the country, not so much where I live in Southern California, but it's still what we call California cold here, and it's still a little chilly. We've got sweatshirts on and are enjoying this time of year. But right now, hot cocoa sounds so wonderful. And this card is super cute and it's very timely because the stamp set that I'm going to show you is actually on our last chance list. So this is only available until it sells out or is completely retired. It is only $20, and I will put the link for this below. Do not delay because there's been a lot of projects made recently, and you'll see YouTube videos, and this is going to be gone before you know it. All right, let's begin with our card base, which is pretty in pink cardstock, 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. I have already scored it here at 4.25 inches and given it a fold on the score line. I'll take my bone folder and just give it a press to get that nice, crisp, clean crease. There we go. Then I have a piece of white cardstock. This is just the regular weight, basic white cardstock. This is 4 inches by 5.25 inches and is just going to go onto our card base like that, a panel on the front. Now, I might mention you might want a second piece, which I did not grab this, but you're certainly welcome to grab another 4 inch by 5.25 inch piece to go on the inside. I'm going to be focusing on the front of the card for today, but yes, you might want to go ahead and prep that and decorate the inside of your card as well. I'm springboarding from a card that I made recently in a virtual craft along situation. And we used strips of paper. And I want to tell you, I'm simplifying the idea for today's card. So be sure and check my channel back within the next day or two. I will be posting another card idea that uses a similar layout, but is a little bit more complicated. It was a little bit too hard to do for me to bring you on a Simply Saturday episode. So this is a simplified version of that other card that we'll be doing. I'll also be showing other papers and other stamp sets on the other card. So it's fun to see the two similar ideas. I am using some designer series paper. I have some strips that have been cut. And this paper is called Made with Love. It is a pack of 12 by 12 pieces of paper, our designer series paper. And at the time of this recording, it is temporarily sold out. It is due to come back the week of February 9th, but I always tell my customers, begin checking back a few days before that date and or use our notification system where you go ahead and go to my online store, and when you pull up that product, it'll say that it's temporarily unavailable, and you can ask to be notified by email as soon as it comes back in stock. So that, or begin checking back a few days before the 9th. My strips are two different sizes. So I have 3 of them, and these are cut a 1/2 inch by 5 inches. And I have 3 pieces that are a 1/2 inch by 3.5 inches. All right, on the similar card that we'll be doing, we'll actually be using more strips. So this one is simplified. I have a couple pieces of white cardstock scraps. We're going to be using that. And then I did go ahead and die cut using nested essentials or stylish shapes. Let's see, where did I get my circles from this time? Stylish shapes. So I have a white circle that's already die cut and a little bit larger circle with the pretty in pink cardstock. And these are going to get layered. I also cut this little banner piece out from also the Stylish Shapes dies. So those were pre-cut just to save us some time as we're constructing the card right now. All right, what we're going to do is our stamping first, and then we will come and use our strips and our pieces of paper to create the card. So on your little scraps of white cardstock, we're going to be using the cup, and I'm stamping in early espresso ink. We are going to be doing a little bit of coloring with some Stampin' Blends. And normally I would say stamp your image in our Memento Black ink pad so that the Stampin' Blends don't bleed. But you'll see why it's not so important with this one. And so I am doing the outline in early espresso. So I have my cup, and I'm going to also stamp the whipped cream like so. I'm going to add a little bit. You know what? This one, I think I could do better on this one. This one needs to be darker. Let's flip that over. Let's pick up a little more ink this time. I'm also not using my Stampin' Pierce mat, which is right here. Let's just pull that in. All right, there's the whipped cream. Ah, yes, that looks better. This one is a little faded. Okay, there we have that. Now, let's also put a heart on here. So I'm going to use some Poppy Parade and stamp my red heart right there. And continuing with Poppy Parade and these little sprinkles, I'll add some sprinkles. I feel like this is especially fun because, I mean, we already talked about the cold weather. We talked about hot cocoa, but we're also heading into February and Valentine's. And I feel like this could definitely lend itself to a Valentine themed card if you wanted it to be. Okay, now once we've got these done, we're going to do a little bit of coloring, as I mentioned. So I'm using my Stampin' Blend, and I'm using the dark crumb cake, and I'm just going to fill in, shade in these areas that would be the cocoa. And you could choose to use a darker brown if you want, but in working with the pink and the red that we're doing, I really just thought that this looked right. So that was my choice to use dark crumb cake. All right, there we have that. And as I mentioned, since I used early espresso ink to stamp the cup itself, I wasn't too worried about this brown line bleeding. In fact, if it does bleed a little bit, it's fine because I'm using the brown. Let's fill in the heart with Poppy Parade Stampin' Blend. And then let's grab Bubble Bath. And I'm going to start with light. I don't know if I'm going to end up keeping it light or if I'm going to go darker. So let's put it in here in the light first. And I'm just going all around the heart, being kind of careful so that I don't get too close and cause that red to bleed. All right, so this looks about how I envisioned it. And I think we'll go ahead and leave it this light pink. If you wanted to and you had the extra moment or two, you could take your dark one and just add a little bit of shading. This is Bubble Bath Dark. Maybe just pull that in a little bit, like so. All right, back with my light. I want to put a little hint of pink in the whipped cream. I don't know why. I don't know if it tastes like strawberry or what, but I think having just a little few dabs of pink in there set it up nicely for our project. Okay, so I didn't completely color it in. I just added a little bit of pink. Now, what's going to happen is we are going to run that through with our die, like so. Actually, I was going to skip a step, but I can see that we still need to do it. All right, so we're going to run that through our Stampin' Die Cut Emboss machine to cut the pieces out. And then we have these that are not colored because I didn't cut those out. So Let's go round 2. I'm going to end up with 2 cards almost at the speed of 1. All right, there's our pink. I was thinking ahead about not taking the time to die cut, but then I should have colored this one to begin with. Back to our dark crumb cake. And let's go back and touch up that whipped cream with a little splash of pink. All right, so we've got duplicate pieces here. Pre-die cut, after die cut. All right, now what I'm going to do is just put a tiny, tiny bit of my liquid glue along the top edge of my cup, like so, and go ahead and put this into place. That looks delicious. This is now going to get attached to our white circle, which is going to get layered on the pink circle. Let's just go ahead and do those steps. Like so, and we can decide to do this with our liquid glue, or we can pop it up with dimensionals. I think we'll go ahead and do it flat. I have something else in mind that we will pull in the use of the dimensionals on it instead. Now, I want to show you that the straw would be very cute in this as well. I did pre-cut a straw because that was what I had in mind at first. However, the more I got to thinking about it, you're probably not going to use the straw in a hot drink. It would be a cold drink, which there is such thing as frozen hot chocolate. So if this was a frozen hot chocolate, you could certainly add the straw. This one is in pink and white. Look how cute that is. Or here's another one that I prepped that I did not end up using yet, and I did a pink and red straw. Very cute. So it's up to you if you want to add the straw. We're going to leave it out in assumption that this is actually a cup of hot cocoa. All right, we're going to take that banner that was already prepared, and using our red and brown inks, let's put some words on here. So I'm going to go with "This calls for." I want it right here at the top of that piece. And hot cocoa, we're going to just put at the bottom, like so. Very cute. All right, let's put this all together. You're going to take your 3 long strips first, and we're just going to lay them out onto the card. I think I want my pink one in the middle. I'm going to go hearts and pink and stripes. Now, I encourage you to not worry about putting them on straight. If you try to get everything straight, it's going to be really difficult. It will not be fast and easy, and it may be very frustrating. So let's just lay them on there like that. What is going to happen next is we are going to, in the same manner, just kind of lay on our shorty strips like that. Now, I am using the point of view that most of the papers are kind of in this part of the card, leaving this part just a little bit more bare. Okay, so instead of doing it all even like this on the middle of the card, I'm purposely shoving everything a little bit to the right and down. All right, let's put those into place. When I show you in another tutorial the other card that is similar, it uses 4 pieces of the long strip, 4 of the short, and we do a really fun technique with it instead of just gluing it flat. So be sure and look for that, and I will try to remember to come back here and put a link to that video so that you can find it while you're watching this one. Both the front and the backs of these papers are both super cute, hard to decide what to use. All right, so kind of more to the right instead of centered. Definitely not straight. Likewise with our cross pieces. Let's have this one going up a little. So I'm leaving this area a little bit more bare. And I did choose to duplicate this pink paper because I just liked it so much. And there we have it. Just our haphazard crisscross of very cute papers. You can already imagine with scraps of paper that you might have mixing and matching and creating something like this. All right, there is our front panel. We can attach that to our card base. I actually have at least one other video that I show using the More Than Autumn stamp set. And so I'm going to also put a link for that one in this video, and you can watch that one as well if you'd like. Okay, there's our card front all in place. Now we're going to come in with this cute decorated element that we did. This is going to go right here, and it can also be flat, or you could pop it up with dimensionals. The choice is yours. I'm just going to come over enough to the left. It's mostly to the right, but enough to the left that piece of paper shows. I think it looks better than if this is too far to the right and you don't see the edge of that paper. That's just my opinion anyway for placement. So it's not really centered, but it is resting in a nice area against our background strips. All right, we have this lovely little piece that we prepared. We're going to put some dimensionals on the back of it. These are minis. I think, do I have any full-size ones? All right, I'm going to have to grab a new packet of full-size ones. Those are not at my fingertips here, so we'll use 3 minis instead of 2 full-size, which would have held it just fine. This is the element that will pop up. And we'll just add that up here in that space that we left kind of bare on purpose. It's a perfect place for that little banner to rest. And there you have a super cute card for a friend or family member. Maybe this would be for Galentine's or for Valentine's. I'm going to put a lot of information for you in the drop down menu below this video. Be sure and open that up, take a look. There will be links and helpful information for you and ways for you to navigate easily. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, happy stamping.